Hey everyone, welcome back to Language Unlocked, the podcast where learning English gets fun, fast, and just a little bit fearless. I'm Mike, and today we're revealing a secret weapon most people overlook when trying to learn English quickly.
Oh, I love a good secret weapon. Hi, I'm Sarah, and Mike, you've got me curious. Are we talking about some kind of magic grammar book? Or is this something I can actually use on my morning commute?
No magic books, I promise. In fact, you don't even need to open a book for this one. Today, we're diving into why listening is the real shortcut to learning English faster than you ever thought possible.
Listening? Wait, so you're saying I can just pop in my headphones, listen to people talk, and boom, better English?
Pretty much. It sounds simple, but let me hit you with a fun fact. According to language experts, babies spend almost an entire year just listening before they ever say their first word. It's like their brains are soaking up the language before they even try to speak.
So you're telling me I should go back to being a baby? Diapers and all?
Only if you want to make a real fashion statement. But seriously, think about it. Babies don't memorize grammar rules or vocabulary lists. They just listen constantly, and their brains start picking up patterns, pronunciation, even the rhythm of the language.
That's actually kind of wild. But what about adults? Are our brains still that good at picking up language just by listening, or did I miss my window by not paying attention in kindergarten?
Great question. The cool thing is, our brains never really lose that ability. Sure, kids might pick things up a bit faster, but adults have one big advantage. We can choose what we listen to, and we can focus on what matters most to us.
Okay, now you've got me picturing adults sitting around listening to nursery rhymes all day. Is that what you recommend? Or is there a more, let's say, grown-up way to use listening to learn English?
Well, unless you have a secret love for the wheels on the bus, I'd say go for things you actually enjoy: podcasts, movies, music, even YouTube videos. The key is to find content that matches your interests and your current level.
So if I'm obsessed with true crime podcasts, I can turn my guilty pleasure into a language lesson?
Exactly. And it works even better because you're actually interested in what's being said. Plus, you'll pick up real, everyday language, not just textbook phrases like, "the pencil is on the table," unless you're listening to a very boring crime podcast.
I'd love to hear the episode. The case of the missing pencil. But seriously, what about people who get frustrated because they don't understand every single word? Isn't that a little discouraging?
Totally normal to feel that way, but here's a little secret. Even native speakers don't catch every word in a fast conversation. The trick is to focus on the overall meaning, not every single detail. Your brain will start filling in the gaps over time.
So, it's kind of like watching a movie with subtitles at first, and then gradually turning them off as you get better?
That's a perfect analogy. And here's another fun fact. Research shows that people who listen to a language regularly, even without understanding everything, improve their comprehension way faster than those who just study vocabulary lists.
Okay, that's pretty convincing. But let's say I'm listening to a podcast and I get totally lost. Should I rewind and listen again, or just keep going and hope I catch more the next time?
Both are great strategies. If you're really curious about something, rewind and listen again. But sometimes, just letting the language wash over you is the best way to get used to the sounds and rhythm.
I love that. Just let it wash over you. Like a nice language bubble bath.
Exactly. And hey, here's a quick challenge for our listeners. Try listening to something in English for just 5 minutes a day this week. It could be anything: a podcast, a song, even this show. Notice how much more you pick up by the end of the week.
Ooh, I like that challenge. And let us know what you're listening to. Maybe we'll feature your favorite picks in a future episode.
Absolutely. And for those who think they're too busy, remember, you can listen while you're cooking, driving, working out, even taking a shower. Multitasking for the win.
Hey, I have to ask, do you really listen to English podcasts in the shower, Mike?
Guilty as charged. There's nothing like practicing your listening skills while singing off-key to your favorite tunes.
Maybe we need a bonus episode. Shower karaoke for English learners. But seriously, it sounds like listening is not just a passive thing. It's actually super powerful for picking up vocabulary, pronunciation, and even grammar.
That's right. When you listen, your brain is picking up on word order, sentence structure, and even the little filler words that make English sound natural, like you know, actually, or like.
So, listeners, if you've ever wondered how to sound more like a native speaker, maybe the answer isn't more grammar drills, but more listening.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And to our audience, if you have a funny story about learning English by listening, send it our way. We'd love to share your experiences.
I can't wait to hear those. But Mike, before we move on, is there a wrong way to use listening for language learning? Or is it all about just pressing play and letting it happen?
There are definitely ways to make your listening more effective and some common mistakes to avoid. But don't worry, we're going to break down exactly how to get the most out of your listening practice in the next section.
Perfect. So stick around, because coming up, we'll give you practical tips for turning your ears into English learning superpowers. Don't go anywhere.
All right, we're back. And now let's geek out a little, because the science behind how our brains absorb language is actually pretty mind-blowing.
Ooh, I love this stuff. So, Mike, what's actually happening in our brains when we listen to a new language? Is there a language sponge hiding up there?
I wish, but it's actually a team effort between different brain areas. When you hear English, your auditory cortex first processes the sounds, then the brain's language centers, like Broca's and Wernicke's areas, start making sense of it all.
So, it's like a factory line. One part hears, another part figures out the meaning?
Exactly. And the more you listen, the more those pathways strengthen, making it easier and faster to understand over time. It's like building a muscle, but for your ears.
That's wild. Does this mean kids are better at picking up languages because their language muscles are fresher?
Spot on. Kids' brains are more plastic, meaning they adapt and form connections faster. But adults can still learn. Our brains just need more practice and motivation.
Speaking of motivation, I have a question from one of our listeners. Jorge from Brazil asks, is it true that listening to music helps you learn faster, or is that just a myth?
Great question, Jorge. Music absolutely helps. Catchy tunes and rhythms make words stick better. Ever notice how you can remember song lyrics from years ago, but not your grocery list?
Oh, 100%. I still know all the words to Wannabe, but I can't remember my neighbor's name.
There you go. Music engages different parts of your brain, and the repetition in songs is perfect for language learning.
So, is there a difference between passively listening, like having English podcasts on in the background, and active listening, where you're really focused?
Huge difference. Passive listening can help you get used to the sounds, but active listening, like focusing on meaning, repeating phrases, or writing down new words, helps your brain actually learn and remember.
So, if I'm just zoning out to English podcasts while I wash dishes, am I wasting my time?
Not at all. Even passive listening helps your brain get comfortable with the rhythm and flow of English. But if you want real progress, try to mix in some active listening every day.
That sounds doable. I read somewhere that our brains chunk information. Is that true with languages too?
Yep. Our brains love patterns. When you hear common phrases or sentence structures, your brain starts grouping them together, making it easier to understand and use them later.
Like learning, how are you? As a chunk, instead of translating each word separately?
Exactly. The more chunks you pick up, the more natural your English sounds.
That's so cool. Now, what about accents? Sometimes I feel like my brain just shuts down when I hear a strong accent.
You're not alone. Our brains get used to certain sounds, so unfamiliar accents can be tricky. But exposure is key. The more you listen, the better your brain gets at decoding different accents.
So, I should listen to a British podcast, then an Australian one, then maybe a Texan cowboy?
Why not? Think of it like taste testing different flavors of English. It'll make you a more flexible listener.
Now, let's talk memory. How does listening actually help with remembering new words?
Listening gives you context. When you hear a word in a real conversation or story, your brain links it to meaning, emotion, and situation, all of which help you remember it better.
So, hearing apple in a story about apple pie is more memorable than just seeing the word on a flashcard?
Exactly. Stories stick. That's why audiobooks, podcasts, and even TV shows are so powerful for learners.
Here's a curveball. Can listening ever be bad for your learning? Like, if you're listening to English that's too fast or too advanced?
Good question. If it's way too hard, your brain might get overwhelmed and tune out. It's like trying to lift weights that are too heavy. You need to challenge yourself, but not so much that you get discouraged.
So, Goldilocks rule, find listening material that's just right?
Perfect analogy. Not too easy, not too hard. And don't be afraid to rewind or slow things down.
Speaking of slowing down, I once watched an English movie at half speed. Everyone sounded like robots, but I understood so much more.
That's a great trick. Many apps and video players let you adjust the speed. It might sound funny, but it helps your brain catch every word.
Okay, Mike, rapid fire round. What's one weird fact about language learning and the brain that most people don't know?
Love this. Did you know that when you dream in another language, it's a sign your brain is really absorbing it? Some studies show that dreaming in English can happen after just a few months of regular listening.
That's awesome. So, if I start dreaming about English podcasts, I'll know I'm on the right track.
Absolutely. Though if you start dreaming about us, we might be worried.
Only if you're singing Wannabe in my dream, Mike.
No promises. But seriously, the takeaway is our brains are built to learn languages, especially when we use listening as a super tool.
I love that. So, listeners, don't just rely on textbooks. Plug in those headphones and let your brain do its magic.
Coming up next, we'll share our top hacks for making listening practice fun and effective, even if you're super busy.
And maybe we'll even reveal our own embarrassing language mistakes. Stay tuned.
Okay, let's jump in. First myth to bust. You do not need to memorize every grammar rule before you start speaking or understanding a new language.
Wait, are you saying I don't need to suffer through endless verb conjugation charts before I even say hello?
Exactly. Think about how kids learn. They don't start with grammar textbooks, they just listen, imitate, and pick things up as they go.
That's true. My niece is 3 and already bossing people around in 2 languages. She's never touched a grammar book.
Right? And research backs this up. Immersion and exposure beat rote memorization every time, especially in the beginning.
So, what about those learn perfect grammar in 30 days programs? Are they just selling snake oil?
Well, let's just say you might learn more from binge watching a Spanish telenovela than you would from a grammar boot camp. Plus, it's way more dramatic.
Honestly, I'd rather cry over a soap opera than irregular verbs. But seriously, what if someone feels lost without a grammar foundation?
Great question. I like to think of grammar as the scaffolding, not the building. You can still walk into a house with the scaffolding up. You just add structure as you go.
Ooh, love that analogy. So you're saying, start using the language and tidy up the grammar as you build confidence.
Exactly. And hey, we've got a question from our listener, Jamie in Chicago. Jamie asks, I'm afraid I'll make mistakes if I don't study grammar first. How can I get over that fear?
That's a big one. Mistake anxiety is real. What do you think? Should we just embrace our inner toddler and babble away?
Pretty much. Mistakes are proof you're trying. Remember, no one ever learned to ride a bike by reading about it. They fell, got a little bruised, and kept going.
I once told a waiter in Paris that my soup was angry instead of hot. He laughed, brought me a spicy soup, and taught me the right word. I never forgot it.
That's the spirit. And honestly, people usually appreciate the effort, even if you mess up. Sometimes, your mistakes become the best stories.
Plus, you might invent a new dish. Angry soup sounds like a menu special waiting to happen.
Next up on today's specials, grammar-free confidence stew.
So let's get practical. If I'm ditching the grammar book, how do I actually start learning?
Start with chunks, useful phrases you can drop into conversation right away. Think, how much does this cost? Or where's the bathroom? Those get you further than knowing all the verb endings. Exactly. And the more you hear those chunks in context, TV, podcasts, songs, the more naturally you'll start to recognize patterns.
I love that. And honestly, memorizing phrases is way more satisfying than memorizing rules. You feel like you're in on a secret code.
Totally. Here's a fun fact. Studies show adults who focus on phrases, not rules, pick up languages faster and feel less frustrated.
That's a win-win. So, listeners, what's the weirdest phrase you've ever learned first in a new language? Send us your stories. We might read a few on air.
I still remember the first Russian phrase I learned, "Where is the metro?" Not glamorous, but it saved me from getting lost in Moscow.
Mine was "my cat is on the roof" in Spanish. Totally useless, unless you have a very adventurous pet.
Hey, you never know when you'll need to rescue a cat or a friend from a tricky situation.
So, to recap, grammar isn't the enemy, but it doesn't have to be your starting point. Dive in, get messy, and let your brain sort out the patterns.
And if you're worried about sounding silly, just remember, we all start somewhere. Even native speakers mess up sometimes. Just ask anyone who's tried to use whom in a sentence.
Or try to explain the difference between dessert and desert. Trust me, I've made that mistake in front of a very hungry crowd.
Ouch. High stakes. But honestly, those moments are golden. They stick with you way longer than anything you drilled from a worksheet.
So, what's your most embarrassing language mistake? Come on, spill.
Okay, confession time. I once tried to compliment my friend's cooking in German. Instead of saying it was delicious, I accidentally called her fat. She laughed so hard she cried.
Oh no. That's brutal, but also, what a great icebreaker.
Exactly. It turned into a running joke, and I never mixed up those words again.
So, listeners, don't be afraid to mess up. You might just make a friend or start a food fight.
And hey, if you're feeling brave, record yourself speaking and play it back. It's a great way to catch patterns, and you'll notice your progress way faster than you think.
Plus, you get to cringe at your own accent in private before anyone else hears it. Trust me, it's a rite of passage.
Don't forget, language is about connection, not perfection. If you can make someone smile, you're already winning.
I love that. So, for anyone listening who's still clutching their grammar book, maybe loosen your grip a little. Let yourself have some fun.
And if you're really missing those grammar rules, try turning them into a game. Quiz yourself, or challenge a friend to spot your mistakes. Loser buys coffee. Coming up next, we'll share our favorite resources for learning on the go and some hacks for squeezing in practice even on your busiest days.
Plus, we'll read more of your listener stories, so keep them coming. And maybe, just maybe, I'll reveal the time I accidentally proposed marriage in Italian.
That's a story I want to hear. Stick around, folks. We'll be right back with more language laughs and learning hacks. All right, we're back. And I'm still waiting on that accidental marriage proposal story. But first, let's talk about our top listening methods for learning a new language.
Nice try. I'm saving that one for later. So, podcasts, obviously we're fans. But why do you think they're such a hit for language learners?
Well, podcasts are like language snacks. You can listen during your commute, while walking the dog, or even while pretending to clean your house. Plus, you get real conversations, different accents, and lots of slang.
I love that. Language snacks. And there's a flavor for everyone, right? News, true crime, comedy. Even podcasts about learning languages. Any favorites?
Definitely. Coffee Break Spanish is a classic, and Duolingo Spanish podcast mixes stories with language learning. For French, Inner French is awesome. What about you?
I'm a sucker for news and slow Italian. It makes me feel like I understand way more than I actually do. And shout out to Easy German. They record with real people on the street.
That's such a good way to hear everyday language. And speaking of everyday, audiobooks are another great method. You ever tried listening to Harry Potter in another language?
I have. It's wild how different Dumbledore sounds in French. But real talk. Sometimes I get lost if I'm not looking at the words. Any tips for tackling audiobooks?
Oh, totally. Start with something you already know, like a favorite childhood book. And don't be afraid to slow the speed down. Your phone won't judge you for listening to The Hobbit at half speed.
Or maybe it will, but who cares? Actually, we have a listener question that fits right in. Jenna from Chicago asks, how do you stay focused when you're listening and your mind starts to wander?
Great question, Jenna. I like to give myself a mini task, like listening for one specific word or phrase. Or, I'll pause and try to repeat what I just heard out loud. Bonus points if you're on public transport and people stare.
Haha, nothing says dedication like practicing your Italian on the subway. I sometimes draw little doodles of what I'm hearing. Helps me remember new words.
That's creative. Another hack. Try shadowing, where you repeat what you hear, almost like you're an echo. It's weird at first, but it really locks in pronunciation.
Oh, echoing. That sounds like a great way to annoy your siblings, too. So, besides podcasts and audiobooks, what about music? I feel like singing along to songs is secretly language learning.
Absolutely. Music sneaks vocabulary into your brain without you realizing. Plus, if you can keep up with Spanish rap, you're basically fluent.
Challenge accepted. I'll report back after I master a Bad Bunny song. But do you think lyrics apps help? Or is it better to just listen and guess?
Lyrics apps are super helpful. I use them to check words I don't know, then sing along. Just beware, sometimes the translations are creative, let's say.
Like when, I want to hold your hand somehow becomes, I want to steal your goat. True story, by the way.
Now that's a love song I can get behind. Oh, and don't sleep on language learning radio stations. They're like podcasts, but you never know what's coming next. Great for real-world listening.
I've tried that, but sometimes I just end up listening to weather reports for 20 minutes. Still, it's real life, right?
Exactly. And if you want to level up, try listening to YouTube videos with the subtitles on. It's like a 2-for-1 deal, audio and text.
Plus, you get to see people's hand gestures, which are half the conversation in Italian. Quick poll for our listeners. What's your favorite way to sneak language practice into your day? Text us or drop a comment. We love your hacks.
Speaking of hacks, I know someone who listens to language podcasts while jogging. She says she remembers new words better when she's moving. Science actually backs that up. Physical activity can boost memory.
So, you're saying if I do jumping jacks while listening to Spanish, I'll finally remember the word for umbrella?
Hey, it can't hurt. Paraguas, by the way. See, already working.
I'm impressed. So, what about people who say they're too busy? What's the ultimate hack for squeezing in listening practice?
The hidden moments method. Waiting in line, folding laundry, cooking, those tiny pockets add up. Even 5 minutes here and there can make a difference over time.
I love that. It's like language compound interest. And if you have kids, try listening together. Turns out, kids are fearless about repeating silly words.
And they'll keep you honest. There's nothing like being corrected by a 6-year-old. Oh, one more tip. Set your phone or GPS to your target language. You'll learn words like left turn and recalculating really fast.
That's genius. Also, slightly terrifying. Turn left at. Wait, what did she say? Adventure mode activated.
Exactly. And for those who want to go old school, language CDs are still a thing. My car's basically a rolling French classroom.
I didn't know people still had CD players. Next, you'll tell me you've got language cassettes.
Hey, don't judge my vintage learning methods. But seriously, whatever gets you listening, use it. The best tool is the one you actually enjoy.
Couldn't agree more. And remember, it's okay to not understand everything at first. Just keep listening. It's like tuning your ear to a new radio station.
Love that analogy. Before we wrap up, do you want to tease that accidental proposal story again? Our listeners are dying to know.
Oh, I see what you did there. Fine, here's a hint. It involved a very romantic gondola ride, a phrase book, and a very confused gondolier.
I'm hooked, but we'll save the full story for after our next break. Coming up, more listener stories, plus our lightning round of language learning hacks.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more ways to make language learning part of your everyday life. And maybe, just maybe, a little Italian romance gone wrong.
Welcome back, everyone. As promised, it's time to dive into one of the biggest debates in language learning, active versus passive listening.
Oh, the age-old question. So, do I have to sit there, laser-focused, or can I just let French podcasts play while I do my laundry?
Great question. Picture this. Passive listening is like having the radio on in the background while you cook. It's exposure, but you're not really paying attention. Active listening is more like eavesdropping on a conversation at a cafe, really trying to catch every word.
Wait, are you admitting to eavesdropping in cafes? Because I totally do that for research.
Only for science. But seriously, studies show both have benefits. Passive listening helps you get used to the rhythm and sounds, but active listening helps you actually understand and remember new words.
So, should I be quizzing myself while I listen? Or is it okay to just vibe with the background noise?
A bit of both. For example, you could listen to a Spanish song while driving, then later look up the lyrics and try to translate them. It's like turning your playlist into a mini language lesson.
Sounds way more fun than flashcards. We actually have a listener question about this. Jenna from Seattle asks, can you really learn a language by watching Netflix with subtitles?
Love that question, Jenna. The answer, kind of. Watching shows in your target language with subtitles can help, especially if you actively pause, rewind, and jot down new phrases. But if you're just binge watching with your brain on autopilot, not so much.
Guilty as charged. I once convinced myself I was learning Italian by rewatching Luca 3 times in a row.
Hey, every little bit helps. But think of it like osmosis. You'll absorb more if you're actively engaged. Maybe try repeating lines out loud. Bonus points if you do it with dramatic flair.
Challenge accepted. I'll be the most dramatic gelato vendor in town. But let's get practical. How can someone turn passive listening into active practice without feeling overwhelmed?
Start small. Choose a short podcast or song, listen once passively, then again actively, pause, repeat, shadow the speaker. It's like training for a marathon. You don't run 26 miles on day one.
Unless you're being chased by a very angry Italian grandmother, maybe.
In that case, run and conjugate verbs at the same time. But seriously, 5 minutes a day is better than nothing. Consistency is key.
Here's a fun fact. The Foreign Service Institute says it takes about 600 hours to reach professional working proficiency in languages like French or Spanish. That's a lot of passive laundry folding time.
True, but those hours add up. Even listening while commuting or walking your dog can help. Just sprinkle in some active sessions too.
Okay, so what about those language learning apps that say you can learn just by listening? Are they selling a dream?
They're not totally wrong, but it's like learning to cook by watching cooking shows. You'll get inspired, but you still have to get your hands dirty, try speaking, writing, and interacting.
So you're saying I can't just watch Great British Bake Off and become a pastry chef? Disappointing, but fair. That's my kind of multitasking. But back to active listening, can you share a personal story where it really made a difference?
Absolutely. When I was learning Portuguese, I started listening to a Brazilian podcast. At first, it was all gibberish, but I made myself pause and write down one new word each episode. A few weeks in, I could actually follow the main topics.
That's awesome. Did you ever embarrass yourself by misusing a new word?
Oh, definitely. I once confused faca knife with fossa do/make and offered to knife someone a sandwich.
Yikes. Hopefully they appreciated your effort and didn't call security.
They laughed, and that's the beauty of active learning. You make mistakes, but you remember them.
I love that. So listeners, what about you? Have you tried active or passive listening? Any epic fails or surprise successes?
Send us your stories. And if you want a mini challenge, try this. Pick a short clip in your target language, listen passively once, then actively with a notebook. Let us know what new words you discover.
Bonus points if you work in a gondola, a confused gondolier, or a phrase book. I am, but first, I want to know. Is there an ideal mix of active and passive listening? Like 70 by 30?
There's no magic formula, but experts say a good rule of thumb is to aim for at least 20% active listening in your routine. The rest can be passive. Think of it as background seasoning.
So, my background seasoning can be K-pop while I clean and news podcasts while I jog?
Exactly. And if you want to spice it up, try imitating the speakers, accents, and all.
I'm going to sound like a multilingual parrot by the end of this season.
That's the goal. And hey, parrots are famously great at language learning.
Speaking of, here's a quick joke. What do you call a parrot that speaks 2 languages? Thank you. I'll be here all week. But before we move on, any last tips for listeners who feel stuck between passive and active listening?
Don't stress, just start. Even a little active listening makes a big difference over time. And remember, mistakes are proof you're trying.
Wise words. Okay, coming up, our lightning round of language learning hacks. And yes, the gondolier story is finally happening.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for how to choose the right listening materials for your level.
Oh, the secret sauce. So, what's the first thing you look for when picking listening material?
Honestly, it has to be interesting. If you're bored, your brain checks out faster than I do at a math party. Only if they come with jazz hands. But seriously, pick something you'd actually want to listen to in your native language, music, stories, news, or hey, podcasts like ours.
Okay, but what about difficulty? I always get stuck. Should I go super easy or jump into the deep end?
Great question. I call it the Goldilocks principle. Not too easy, not too hard. If you understand about 70 to 80%, you're in a sweet spot.
So, if it's all gibberish, you're probably not learning much.
Exactly. You want to catch enough to follow along, but still have a little challenge. Otherwise, you're just zoning out.
That's so true. Actually, we got a question from Sam in Toronto. He asks, is it okay to re-listen to the same episode or song over and over?
Yes. In fact, repetition is your friend. Each time you notice something new. It's like watching your favorite sitcom. You catch more jokes every time.
Except maybe the puns, which get worse, not better. I'll take your word for it. So, what about transcripts? Are they cheating or super helpful?
Super helpful. Using transcripts is like having training wheels. You can compare what you hear with what's written and fill in the gaps. Exactly. And eventually, you can try listening without them and see how far you've come.
What about accents? I always get tripped up by regional accents or slang.
Oh, accents are like the boss level in a video game. Start with the standard accent, then gradually branch out. It's totally normal to struggle at first.
Any funny accent stories from your own learning journey?
Oh, absolutely. I once tried to impress a Parisian friend with my perfect French accent. She just stared at me and said, "Why do you sound Belgian?" Exactly. But it's all part of the process. Mistakes make for the best stories later.
So, if I'm just starting, should I stick to kids' shows or go for adult content?
Kids shows are great for beginners. They use simple language, lots of repetition, and fun visuals if you're watching. But don't be afraid to mix in short news clips or podcasts as you improve.
I have a confession. I learned half my Spanish from telenovelas,
And now you can dramatically declare your love and slap someone in Spanish.
only on special occasions. So, how often should people change up their listening materials?
When you feel bored or like you're not learning anything new, it's time to switch it up. But it's also good to stick with something long enough to see progress.
So, a little loyalty, but not a lifetime commitment? Here's another audience question. Jenna from Sydney asks, what if I can only find advanced materials, but I'm a beginner?
Great question, Jenna. Try slowing down the audio. Most apps let you do that. Or look for summaries or transcripts. Even if you only catch a word or two, you're training your ear. Plus, don't underestimate the power of music. Even if you don't get all the lyrics, you'll pick up rhythm and pronunciation.
I still mishear lyrics in English, so I feel better already.
You're not alone. There's actually a word for that, mondegreen, or an indie band. But nope, it just means misheard lyrics.
The more you know. So, let's recap. Pick interesting stuff, aim for 70 to 80% comprehension, use transcripts, don't fear repetition, and mix it up when you need to.
Nailed it. And remember, your listening journey is uniquely yours. There's no perfect path, just the one that keeps you coming back.
Speaking of coming back, are we finally getting the gondolier story?
Oh yes. Picture this. Venice summer, I'm determined to practice Italian with a real gondolier. Worse, I tried to order directions in my best Italian, but what I actually said was, "Can you row me to the mozzarella?" He just laughed and handed me a menu. I ended up with a pizza instead of a boat ride.
Moral of the story. You might not get where you planned, but you'll get a good story and maybe lunch.
Exactly. And that's language learning in a nutshell.
Okay, listeners, what's the funniest mistake you've made in another language? Share with us, and we might read it on the show.
Coming up next, our lightning round of language hacks.
Get your pens ready. These tips are quick, quirky, and totally doable.
And spoiler, none of them involve gondolas or mozzarella. Welcome back. Now let's talk about turning those everyday moments into language listening gold.
Okay, so you're saying I can practice while doing laundry? Or is that just a sneaky way to make chores less boring?
Exactly. Picture this. You're folding socks, but you've got a podcast in Spanish playing. Suddenly, laundry day becomes listening day.
I love that. But what if I can't understand much yet? Isn't it overwhelming to just listen?
Great question. Start with something simple. Children's shows or beginner podcasts are perfect. They're slower and use basic words. Think Sesame Street, but in French.
So, I'm learning colors and numbers again. I can handle that. Any tips for people who get distracted easily?
Totally relatable. Try matching listening time to routine tasks, like brushing your teeth or waiting for your coffee to brew. Short bursts, low pressure.
Multitasking for the win. What about music? Does singing in the shower count as listening practice?
Oh, absolutely. Music is fantastic for picking up pronunciation and rhythm. Plus, no one judges your shower solos unless you have thin apartment walls.
True story. My neighbor once complimented my questionable rendition of Despacito. So, what about watching TV shows with subtitles? Yay or nay?
Definitely yay. Start with subtitles in your target language if you can. It helps connect what you hear with what you read.
But what if I end up just reading and not listening?
Here's a hack. Try dual subtitles if the streaming service allows it, both your native and target languages. Or listen first, then replay with subtitles.
Ooh, double the exposure. Okay, we have a question from listener Sam. Is it better to listen to one thing a bunch of times, or lots of different things once?
Great question, Sam. Repeating the same material helps your brain notice patterns and vocabulary, but mixing it up keeps things interesting. I say do both.
The best of both worlds. Speaking of worlds, did you know there's a radio station that only plays news in slow German?
Yes, it's called Deutsch Warm Nicht. I love it. And there's news in slow Spanish, too. Perfect for learners.
I'd listen to news in slow Klingon, honestly. So, Let's talk about eavesdropping. Is it okay to listen in on conversations for practice?
As long as you're not being creepy. Public places, cafes, buses are great for picking up real-life language. Just don't stare.
So, no Sherlock Holmes impressions? Got it. What about talking to voice assistants in another language?
That's genius. Try asking Siri or Alexa for the weather in Italian. You'll hear the response and maybe even learn how to ask follow-up questions.
And if Alexa starts correcting my grammar, I'll know I've made it. Quick poll. Listeners, who's tried switching their phone to another language? Tell us how it went.
I did that once with my GPS. Let's just say I took a lot of wrong turns in Paris.
Turn as gauche and hope for the best. Any other creative listening ideas?
Sure. Change your social media feeds. Follow influencers or comedians in your target language. Your doom scrolling suddenly becomes a language lesson.
So my meme addiction is actually productive now? I knew there was a reason I kept those cat videos.
Cat videos transcend all languages. And honestly, humor is a great way to learn slang and cultural references.
Speaking of culture, is there a way to listen to local radio stations from other countries?
Absolutely. There are apps like TuneIn or Radio Garden that stream stations from around the globe. Breakfast in your kitchen, news from Tokyo.
That's brilliant. And probably way more interesting than the weather report here. So, what if I don't understand anything at first? Should I just keep listening?
Yes. Even if it feels like white noise, your brain is picking up patterns. Over time, you'll start catching words and phrases. It's like tuning your ear.
Like a language ninja, lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike with perfect pronunciation. So, to recap, listeners, you can turn almost any daily moment into a listening opportunity: laundry, commutes, shower concerts, and even scrolling memes.
And remember, consistency beats intensity. 5 minutes a day adds up fast.
Challenge time. This week, pick one routine and turn it into a listening moment. Bonus points if you teach your pet a new word.
We want to hear your stories. Did your dog learn sit in Spanish? Did your cat ignore you in French?
Probably. But hey, they say immersion is key for humans and pets.
Coming up next, we'll share some of the funniest language mistakes our listeners have sent in.
And if you haven't shared yours yet, there's still time. Embarrassment loves company.
Stay tuned, more laughs and learning after this quick break.
Grab your headphones, your laundry basket, and maybe a bilingual cat. We'll be right back.
And we're back. I hope everyone's bilingual cats are ready for this next part because we're diving into the common mistakes language learners make.
Oh, you mean like when I tried to say I'm full in Spanish and accidentally said I'm pregnant instead?
Classic. That one's a rite of passage. Misusing words is one of the most universal mistakes, and honestly, it's how you get the best stories. Over relying on direct translation, people tend to translate word for word from their native language, but that rarely works. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
I've been guilty of that. I once tried to say it's raining cats and dogs in French, and my friend just looked at the sky super confused.
Right? Idioms are especially tricky because every language has its own weird ways of saying things. In French, you'd say il pleut des cordes, it's raining ropes.
That sounds way more dangerous. Okay, so what's a good way to avoid this translation trap?
Surround yourself with native materials, music, shows, podcasts. The more you hear how real people talk, the less likely you are to sound like a robot.
Or like Google Translate on a bad day. Speaking of, do you remember that viral video of the guy ordering 12 chickens in his coffee because he mixed up his nouns?
Oh, I remember, and the barista just nodded like, coming right up. Here's a fun fact. In Mandarin, the word for horse and mother are only differentiated by tone. One wrong pitch, and you're calling someone's mom a farm animal. Fear of making mistakes, ironically, people get so anxious about saying something wrong that they end up not speaking at all.
That's true. I used to freeze up in class, even when I knew the answer. Any advice for getting past the fear?
Think of it like learning to ride a bike. You're going to wobble, maybe crash, but that's how you improve. Plus, most people are just impressed you're trying.
And if you crash, at least it makes for a good story later.
Exactly. Actually, we had a listener write in, shout out to Josh, who asked, how do you get over the embarrassment of messing up in front of native speakers?
Great question, Josh. I wish I'd asked that 10 years ago.
My tip, own your mistakes. Laugh at them. You can even ask the other person to correct you. Most folks love being helpful, and you'll remember it better next time.
Plus, you get bonus points for humility. What about pronunciation? That's always my Achilles heel.
Yeah, pronunciation trips up a lot of learners. Like the difference between beach and, well, in English.
Oh, I know. I once asked someone if they liked the bitch in Miami. Spoiler, not the same as beach.
That's a beach you definitely don't want to visit. Best way to improve? Record yourself. It feels weird, but it helps you catch mistakes you don't notice in real time.
I do that with voice memos, and wow, I sound way more confused than I thought. What's the next big mistake?
Ignoring culture. Language isn't just words, it's jokes, gestures, even timing. You might know all the grammar, but if you don't get the cultural context, things can get awkward fast.
Like giving a thumbs up in the wrong country and accidentally insulting someone's grandmother?
Exactly. Or using super formal language with teenagers. It's like showing up to a skate park in a tuxedo.
Okay, so how do you get that cultural sense if you're not living there?
Find language partners, follow creators from that country, join online groups. Even memes teach you a ton about what's cool, funny, or off limits.
Memes are the universal language. Is there a mistake that's totally overrated? Like, people worry about it, but it doesn't really matter?
Great question. A lot of people obsess over grammar. But honestly, if you can communicate your point, most people won't care if you mixed up your tenses.
So, you're saying I can finally stop having nightmares about the subjunctive?
Yes, unless you're taking a test, let it go. Focus on getting your meaning across, then polish up the grammar as you go.
That's a relief. Here's a wild card. Is there a good mistake? One that helps you learn faster?
Definitely. The best mistakes are the ones that make you laugh or stick in your mind. Like, I'll never forget the time I accidentally asked for pain instead of bread in a French bakery. The look on that baker's face? Priceless.
So, if you had to pick one thing listeners should do to avoid these common mistakes, what would it be?
Embrace the mess. Try, fail, laugh, repeat. The more you put yourself out there, the faster you'll improve, and the more fun you'll have along the way.
I love that. And remember, everyone listening, your mistakes today are tomorrow's hilarious anecdotes.
That's right. Plus, if you share them with us, we promise not to judge. We might even share our own.
Maybe we'll make it a competition. Most embarrassing language blunder wins a bilingual cat mug.
I'd enter just for the mug. Should we take one more audience question before we wrap this section?
Yes. Here's one from Priya. What do you do when you hit a plateau and feel like you're not improving?
Great one, Priya. Everyone hits plateaus. My go-to is to shake things up, try a new app, watch a movie without subtitles, or set a silly challenge, like ordering food in your target language all week.
Or record a dramatic soap opera monologue in Italian. Bonus points for fake tears.
The soapier, the better. The key is to keep things fresh so your brain doesn't get bored.
And remember, folks, progress isn't always a straight line. Sometimes you leap. Sometimes you trip over your own tongue.
Every step, stumble, and snort laugh is progress. So keep at it.
Up next, we'll share some quick hacks for remembering new words. No boring flashcards required.
Teaser, one hack involves potatoes. You won't want to miss it.
Stick around and bring your appetite. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you grabbed a snack, maybe even a potato, because we are diving into some real-life stories now.
I'm still curious about the potato hack, but I'll let it slide for now. So, these are folks who really mastered English just by listening, right?
Exactly. Take Raj, for example. He was a taxi driver in Mumbai who played English podcasts during every shift. Within a year, he was chatting with tourists like a pro.
That's amazing. Did he have any favorite shows, or was it just whatever came on?
He loved comedy podcasts. He said the jokes helped him remember phrases. Plus, he'd try out new slang with his passengers. Brave, right?
Super brave. I'd be terrified of messing up in front of strangers. Did he ever have any embarrassing moments?
Oh, totally. He once tried to use break a leg to wish a passenger luck, but ended up saying, "I hope your leg breaks." Thankfully, the tourist just laughed.
That's so wholesome. Speaking of, I see we have a question from Ella in Boston. She asks, can you really get fluent just by listening, or do you have to speak too?
Great question, Ella. Listening helps you pick up natural patterns and pronunciation, but to get truly fluent, you need to speak as well, even if it's just talking to yourself at first.
So, kind of like how we all practice singing in the shower, but maybe with less Mariah Carey?
Exactly. Or more if you're feeling ambitious. Another cool story. Sarah from Brazil learned English mostly through pop music. She'd memorize lyrics, sing along, and look up any words she didn't know.
I love that. Did she ever mix up lyrics like Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza?
All the time. But that actually helped her remember the correct phrases. Mistakes are like sticky notes for your brain.
It's a great analogy. So, do these learners ever get frustrated? It can't be easy just listening all the time.
For sure. There's a period where you feel like you understand nothing. It's called the silent period. But if you keep listening, suddenly things click.
Like magic. Or maybe like waiting for popcorn to start popping, silent, silent, then boom.
Perfect comparison. And it's so satisfying when you finally get your first popular. Another listener, Ahmed from Egypt, told us he set his phone to English and listened to news podcasts on his commute. Now, he says he dreams in English sometimes.
Oh, dreaming in English? That's next level. Did he ever mention the weirdest English dream he had?
He said he once dreamt he was on a cooking show, but all the ingredients were English idioms. A piece of cake was literally a cake.
That's hilarious. So, what about you? Have you ever tried learning a language just by listening?
I have. I tried learning Spanish by listening to telenovelas. Let's just say I can now dramatically declare my love or accuse someone of stealing my fortune.
Useful skills. I bet our audience has some wild stories too. Listeners, have you ever learned something just by listening? Drop your stories in the comments.
And if you're still skeptical, here's a fun fact. Babies learn language entirely by listening for their first year or so. If they can do it, so can we.
Babies don't have bills or deadlines, just saying.
Fair point. But the principle stands. Listening builds the foundation, and the more you expose yourself, the faster you'll pick things up.
So, if I binge watch British baking shows, will I wake up with a posh accent?
It's possible, but you might also start craving scones and saying brilliant a lot.
Worth the risk, honestly. So, besides podcasts and music, what else worked for these learners?
Audiobooks were huge. Maria from Spain swore by listening to Harry Potter audiobooks on repeat. She said the magic spells were tricky, but the British accents helped her sound more natural.
That's dedication. I can barely get through one audiobook, let alone 7.
She said it felt like hanging out with friends. She knew the story, so she could focus on the language.
That's a smart tip. Start with something familiar so you're not lost in translation.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to re-listen. Repetition is like reheating leftovers. It gets better every time. True, some things are better fresh, but for language, reheating works wonders.
I'm inspired. Maybe I'll try listening to my favorite shows in another language. But first, can you finally spill the potato hack?
Okay, here it is. One learner, Yuki from Japan, would associate new English words with foods she loved. For example, she'd link tough with potato because potatoes are hard to cut before they're cooked.
I love that. So when she heard tough, she'd picture a potato?
Exactly. It made the word stick, and she'd even doodle little potatoes in her notes.
That's adorable. Maybe I'll start associating brilliant with chocolate cake, because both make me happy.
Now you're getting it. The sillier the association, the more memorable it is.
So, to sum up, listen a lot, make it fun, and don't be afraid to make weird connections. Any last success stories before we wrap up?
Sure. One from Mexico learned English by listening to soccer commentaries. Now he can narrate any game in perfect English, and he's even started his own podcast. See what you did there. So, whether you're into music, sports, or potatoes, there's a listening method for everyone.
And don't forget, listeners, share your own language learning wins with us. Next up, we'll reveal quick hacks to supercharge your memory. No boring flashcards required.
One hint, it involves singing in the shower. Stay tuned. Now we are talking. Stick around, we'll be right back. Alright, welcome back everyone. If you're just tuning in, we promised a 30-day listening action plan, and yes, singing in the shower and maybe chocolate cake are involved.
I'm still waiting for you to explain how chocolate cake helps with English listening. But first, let's do a quick recap. What are the big takeaways from today's episode?
Absolutely. First, we talked about the importance of listening daily, even if it's just for a few minutes. It's like brushing your teeth, you wouldn't skip it, right?
Unless you want cavities. Or in this case, language cavities. That's not a thing, but you get the idea.
Exactly. Then we explored different ways to listen, podcasts, songs, even movies with subtitles. The key is to mix it up so you don't get bored.
And you mentioned that singing in the shower can actually help you remember phrases and improve your pronunciation. Is that really true?
100% true. When you sing, your brain connects words with rhythm and melody, which makes them stick. Plus, nobody is judging your accent in the shower. Bonus points if you use a shampoo bottle as a microphone.
I do that all the time. Okay, and the chocolate cake?
Well, think of your learning journey like baking a cake. You need the right ingredients, listening, speaking, reading, and a sprinkle of fun. If you make it enjoyable, you're more likely to stick with it. And hey, maybe treat yourself to real cake when you hit a milestone.
I love that. So, let's dive into our 30-day listening action plan. What's step 1?
Step 1. Set a tiny, specific goal. For example, I'll listen to 5 minutes of English every morning while I make coffee. The trick is to make it easy enough that you can't say no. Step 2. Choose your listening material. Podcasts like this one are perfect, but you can also pick songs, news clips, or even short YouTube videos. Pro tip: pick something you genuinely enjoy, even if it's about chocolate cake recipes. Step 3. Don't just listen, interact. Pause and repeat phrases, write down new words, or even mimic the speaker's intonation. If you're brave, try shadowing, which means speaking along with the audio in real time.
I've tried that with British TV shows. Sometimes I end up with a terrible accent, but it's fun.
That's the spirit. Mistakes mean you're learning. Step 4. Track your progress. You can use a calendar, an app, or a good old-fashioned sticker chart. Seeing your streak grow is surprisingly motivating.
I love stickers. Okay, what about the days when you just don't feel like it?
Great question. That's step 5. Have a backup plan for low-energy days. On those days, listen to something super easy, or just play an English song while you relax. The key is consistency, not perfection.
That makes sense. So, to sum it up, set a goal, pick fun material, interact with it, track your progress, and have a backup for tough days. Did I get it?
Nailed it. And remember, after 30 days, you'll not only notice your listening skills improving, you'll also have built a daily habit that sticks.
Before we wrap up, should we answer a couple of quick audience questions?
Let's do it. Here's one from Carlos in Mexico. What if I don't understand everything I hear? Carlos, you're not alone. It's totally normal not to catch every word. Focus on the main ideas and let the details fill in over time. Think of it like watching a movie with a friend. You might miss some lines, but you still enjoy the story.
And you can always rewind or use subtitles if you need a little help, right?
Absolutely. Here's another from Aisha in Egypt. How do I stay motivated for 30 days? Yes, make it social. Find a listening buddy or join an online group where you can share your progress. And don't forget those small rewards like chocolate cake.
Okay, I think we've officially made chocolate cake part of the curriculum.
I'm not mad about it. Before we say goodbye, let's quickly recap the golden rules for boosting your English listening.
Don't stress about perfection. Progress is what counts.
Exactly. And remember, whether you're singing in the shower, listening on your commute, or learning about dessert recipes, you're moving forward every day.
We hope you'll join us for the 30-day listening challenge. Share your journey with us on social media or email. We love hearing your stories and questions.
Thank you so much for tuning in today and for being part of our awesome community. We appreciate every single one of you.
And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, or send us a virtual slice of chocolate cake.
We'll be back next week with more tips, stories, and maybe a few more dessert analogies.
Until then, keep listening, keep learning, and keep having fun. Bye, everyone.